I wanted to do a video about how I write lyrics. So I'm just going to demonstrate by writing a song with one verse and one chorus from start to finish to show how I do lyric. Ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred just came through a day ago and brought all sorts of weather phenomena, huge lashing winds, rain, still raining. It got demoted to a tropical low yesterday, but that didn't stop the rain, which continues up till this very point, and it won't let up until tomorrow. So now let's say I want to write a song about this, the experience of waiting for the storm to come in and then the feeling of having it hit. So I have a topic, and it's well and good to say it's a song about a storm, but for me, that's not enough. I'm not saying that that makes a bad song. There are fantastic songs that are just about the one thing, but my preference as a songwriter is for the song to have some theme or story beyond just narrating the happening. So during the lead up and prep for this tropical cyclone, I felt pretty anxious and isolated, but over time I started keeping up with the news channels and it grew into this sense of solidarity across the region. So I also find myself thinking about the people I know around like the coast and inland who are getting to see the different parts of this event. People evacuating, trees falling, coasts being eroded, rainfall, of course. There we go. This is a song about a storm, but it will also be about the gradual crescendo of tension across the state as the storm rolls in and the various things occurring all across. And I'd like it to have this feeling of like scattered images and events that slowly culminate and build from a light pitter patter, like a drizzle, into like a big hit at the climax. A couple of my quirks as a songwriter are that number one, I like to compose the music first and then start putting lyrics to it once I have a chord progression and perhaps a sketch of a melody. So I am a music first person. I also like to draft my compositions in piano before putting in any of the other instrumentation, including the voice. Okay, so what I've done here is scaffold out a musical backbone as well as a draft melody. The important part to understand here is that neither of these is going to be final. As a songwriter, I like to use major and minor keys to accentuate the opposite emotion that like we traditionally associate with them. So I like to write my low mood songs in major keys, and I like to do the inverse. I like to write my upbeat, high energy songs in minor key, because I enjoy the sense of irony they produce. The structure I'm going for is that the verses will kind of feel like the pitter patter of rain, and then over the sections, maybe through the pre chorus, it builds and builds, and then the climax, the chorus hits like a thunderclap. And this is what I've got so far. So let me carry on and do the pre-chorus. You can already hear the build starting. So here's where, once we get to this, that pause is meant to anticipate the hit. And I'm sensing now that the track is too slow, so I'm gonna raise that to maybe 130. Next part is gonna be the chorus. I'm not a professional vocalist, so I can't sing like with perfectly tuned pitch every single time, but that gives me like a clear idea of what shape I want that melody to have. So now I have the melody, I can write the lyrics. All right, so I am definitely going to start that verse there with like a boom, a bang, bang. I'm also the second line is going to be about probably skyscrapers creaking in the wind because I am living in one and I have been feeling it. Boom, walls are falling, walls fall like paper. Boom, walls fall like paper. And a skyscraper. Paper, skyscraper, that's a fun rhyme. Sky, swinging the sky, wind swinging skyscrapers. Boom, walls fall like paper. Bang, walls fall like paper. Bang, walls fall like paper. Walls fall is a nice rhyme, and then wind swinging skyscrapers. Yeah. Bang, walls fall like paper. Wind swinging skyscrapers. And then the next line, scrapers. I want the next line to have that A vowel. So, waiting when the waiting, watching. Radar. I'd love to mention the radar here. Waiting, watching the radar. Wash with vapor. Radar, a wash with vapor. Maybe not a wash because, as much as I like the onomatopoeia, like I think the wash with is a bit too much to pronounce with the tempo. So radar, radar, a whirl of vapor. The swirl of rain and vapor. We haven't mentioned rain yet, so we can do that. The swirl, waiting, watching, the wash of rain and vapor. Okay, let's X waiting. Okay, watching while the radar is washed with vapor. Watching radars are array of rain and vapor. Watching radars array of rain and vapor. It's actually pretty fun. Okay. Bang, bang, walls fall like paper. Wind swinging skyscrapers. Watching radars array of rain and vapor. I like it. All right. We got that written down. And the second part. All right, that's an even higher note. So I want that one to be another interjection. So like, boom, thunder. It would be a nice time to mention the thunder, I guess. Boom, a tree goes under. Boom, a tree goes under. I can rhyme under with thunder. I know that. Shake with thunder. When I shake with thunder, when I shake with thunder. All right, I want something that rhymes with. Let me know. Has assonance with shake. So okay, maybe not trees go under. The street goes under. Boom! The street goes under. Street. I mean, it alludes to floods, but like, yeah, I'll have to decide what's less corny. A beach goes under. I like that actually. Boom! A beach goes under. Boom! A beach goes under. Shoreline shake with thunder. Oh, okay, we've got the alliteration. Boom, the beach goes under. Shoreline shake with thunder. I like that whirling feeling of da 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 da. So we could be talking about the wind here. Gales gather, hopes and wonder. The gales are gathering, we hope and wonder. We wait and wonder. The gales will gather while we. The gales will gather while we wait and wonder. Oh, perfect. All right, that's really nice, actually. All right, let me also write that down. Right, now that we have the vibe of the chorus, we've got like, all of these images crashing together, and we started to have these references to a we, like a collective. I want to start thinking about what those verses are going to sound like. So again, the idea is this frenetic build. It will start with like a patter of some kind and then gradually gather towards that crescendo. Okay, I want a bit of a staccato feel, so like a from the first pitter patter. Okay, patter, better, matter, wetter, according of the weather. So I don't want it to sound super corny, so I am going to be a bit more indirect. I'm not actually going to refer to a cyclone by name or a storm. And I think like that's very useful. So, and all the birds know better. Yeah, because the birds start flying away. From the first pitter patter, wings a chatter from the first pitter patter. A flock a chatter, a flock of flight a chatter, a flock of flight a chatter. Of birds that must know better. Wind grow wetter. I feel the wind grow wetter, wetter, wetter. The wind is. Okay, so for the second half of the verse, I do want a sort of similar rhyme, but it needs to be different, like not exactly the same, so that you know that we're in the second half. Whispers of on the streets, a whisper, whisper, southeaster. I could rhyme those. Rising southeaster, a premonition of the. Okay, I think closer could be the last word of that line. A premonition of what is getting closer. Is there another word for oven that kind of rhymes with northeaster and whisper? No, I want something that rhymes more with closer. Rose. Swinging the dial on the rose. The rose as in like the wind rose. Swinging the dial on the rose, it's getting closer. Rose closer. I like it. Rose, it's getting closer. Okay, this is like the bracing part of the song. So, running to hide, running away, shops emptying, shelves and something empty. Something. Shelves and shallows empty. Empty shelves and shallows. Empty. Okay, something that rhymes with empty would be nice, or roughly empty 20. Empty 20 something. Oh, 20. It could be nice to mention the temperature here. So we'll change the rhyme. So 20. 20. Okay, I'll change the exact number later. Let's say 25 degrees. 20, 25 and falling. Empty, falling, calling, rolling. Empty waves are rolling. Empty shells are showing. I feel like that's a better rhyme for falling. I really like the rhyme of empty and 20. Maybe instead of the shells, we can talk about something else. Calling. Empty schools are calling. Yeah, that works. Does the school actually call? Empty office calling. Like you're calling an empty office. Maybe empty office calling. 25 and falling. Shoring. Boats strain at their mooring. Ferry boats are mooring. Every boat of mooring. Shoring. Forces are shoring. Shoring as in like, gathering power. Tidal forces shoring. Tidal forces shoring. I like the double meaning there. The shoring as in tidal forces as in like, the pull of the moon, the rising tide, but also the forces that work on the tide. That's the, one possible reading. I'm not going to mention specific organizations in this song because I feel like that's the one-way road to a corny song or a comedic one. Yeah, let me write that down once again, just to make sure I don't forget all of that. Okay, what did the next melody go like? Alright, so because the second half of the pre-chorus starts on an offbeat, right after this line before it ends, like, overlaps across into that half. And that last word is shoring. So we can continue on from that idea. Tidal forces shoring. Roaring. We could continue that rhyme, really. The wind is roaring in. The storm is roaring in. Scoring. Pouring. Drizzles turn to pouring. The waves are roaring. Water started pouring in. Maybe instead of rain, the obvious choice would be news has started pouring in. Pouring in. And then we want to rhyme with in. The wind is roaring. It's kind of boring. That rhymes as well. The wind is roaring. This is getting boring. It is getting boring in my home. When's the storm gonna hit us? Feeds are roaring. I feel like it would be fun. The radio roaring. Radio roaring. Word has started pouring in. In, bin, sin, fin. To begin. When will it begin? Breathe in and. Okay, something would begin, breathe in, and bang. I like that. And so it's time to begin. I feel like that's a bit boring. It's time to could be spent on something more interesting. So okay, how about because the line before that is about like the word pouring in. They say let's begin. They say let's begin. All right, let's do that. I'm gonna write it down. Alright, so the second half of the chorus isn't done yet, but because we've already set up a sort of rhythm and rhyme scheme in the first half of the chorus, we can just kind of echo it for this second half. So interjection, and then some event, something is happening, and then another image like that. And then the third line, watching radars. That one breaks from the rhyme scheme. All the trees are crashing, thrashing, crashing, lashing. All right, so I did think over this line already a little bit in the gap there. All the trees are thrashing, power lines are lashing. Doors are no, not open. No one should be opening their doors. Sirens screaming. Surfers rising. Surfers riding the waves, the swell as it comes crashing. The swell as it comes crashing. Maybe not that. That's too disconnected. Trees are thrashing. Power lines lashing. Okay, something that happened. There were explosions from like sparks from the power lines. So sparks are flashing. Neighbors Joiners. Joining neighbors to watch the sparks of joining neighbors to watch the sparks of flashing. Okay, so since this last bit here is going to be the last line of our very short song, I do want it to have a sort of thesis to it. Like, I don't want it to be super corny. Like, there's no moral to this song, but it does need to end on an image that, ties it up. It's cool to feel that sense of community, solidarity with people I've never met, whose stories I'm seeing in the news. So let's go for something like that. All these tales of terror, the whales, tales of terror, whales of. I love to mention whales in here, but I don't think I can make that work. All okay, sure. I mean, we can repeat the word all, I guess. All this hope and terror, all alone together, alone together. Uh, on the weather, only weather. Talking about the weather. I mean, we could do that. All alone together, talking about the weather. All alone together, talking about the weather. Talking about the weather. Okay, so together, weather. Oh, this is a tough one. It's not a good rhyme. It's not an easy rhyme. Forever, ever, never. Now and forever. Storm will share. This is a storm we'll share now and forever. That sounds a bit cheesy. Storm to remember. Tell her. This is a story that we'll tell forever. I don't mind that. This is a storm whose tale will tell for. Yeah, I like the rhythm. This is a storm whose tale will tell forever. All the trees are thrashing, power lines are lashing. Joining neighbors to watch the lightning flashing. I don't mind lightning actually because like we can kind of draw the connection to power lines, lightning flashing. It looks like sparks, it works. All right, now we can do the draft. Actually, I just realized I think it works better if the ending of that like last chorus is downplaying the significance because I've spent the whole song like emphasizing how violent the storm has been, but we could just go another rainy Sunday of forever. A rainy Sunday, just like any other. A rainy Sunday that goes on. A rainy Sunday that goes on forever. I like that. Okay, let's do that. All right, let me record it. All right, and here's what we've got now. From the first pitter patter, a flock that fly to chatter, of birds that must know better. I feel the wind grow wetter, all through the streets a whisper. The rising southeaster, turning the windrows. There's something coming closer. Empty office calling, 25 and falling. River boats are mooring, tidal forces shoring. Radio waves are roaring. Word has started pouring in. They say it'll begin. Breathe in and bang, walls fall like paper. Wind sweeps skyscrapers watching radars. Arrays of rain and vapor. Boomer beach goes under. Shorelines shake with thunder. The gales will gather while we wait and wonder. All the trees are thrashing. Power lines are lashing. Joining neighbors to watch the lightning flashing. All alone together, talking about the weather. A rainy Sunday that goes on forever. Okay, perfect. I'm quite happy with that. I am probably going to work on producing this thing which would include slowing the song down a little bit and also updating the instrumentation. So like so far the instrumental that I have done here is really just perfunctory. It's just there to do its job, of giving me a backbone to sing on top of. And now is where I do most of the production work on all the instruments. So we'll see where that takes me. From the first pitter-patter, a flock of flighted chatter of birds that must know better. I feel the wind grow wetter, all through the streets a whisper, the rising southeaster, turning the windrows. There's something coming closer, empty office calling, 25 and falling, every boat's a mooring, tidal forces shoring, radio waves are roaring, word has started pouring in, they say we'll begin, breathe in and bang, walls fall like paper, wind swings skyscrapers, watching radars, a race of rain and vapor, boom, a beach goes under, shorelines shake with thunder, the gales will gather while we wait and wonder, all the trees are threshing, power lines are lashing, joining neighbors to watch the lightning flashing, all alone together, talking about the weather, a rainy Sunday that goes on forever. So here's an overview of the structure of the lyrics. We start with a sort of, literal pitter-patter, scattered imagery of things that are happening as like portents of this coming storm. And then in the pre-chorus, we've got that bracing section, the build up towards something that's coming. And we have a little pause in the music when we go breathe in, and bang, bang marks the start of the climax of the song. And then we've got the two stanzas of the chorus, which first outlined this very sweeping imagery. So whereas at the start we had some very like intimate details, little things, birds chattering, wind getting wetter, and then we get slightly more abstract, and then we get to the really sweeping stuff like skyscrapers, radars, beaches, shorelines, and all that. And finally, in that very last stanza of the chorus, we get to how this time is going to be remembered, wherein I'm downplaying the extent of the storm. I'm just saying it's a Sunday that goes on forever. Now, as to the specifics of the vocabulary, you can see that in the very first verse, we've got patter, chatter, better, wetter. So that's a very like plosive. It's got the repeating T and P and B sounds, patter, chatter, better, wetter. So like very clipped. And then as we move on to that second half, it becomes whisper, southeaster, closer, rose, there's lots more sibilants, the S, which kind of sounds like, the rain coming in. And these are still all just end rhymes, really, patter, chatter. There's not much internal rhyming going on there, nor any interlocking. And then we get to the calling, falling, mooring, shoring, roaring, pouring, and so on. So it becomes this sort of rolling, kind of like the waves coming in, the liquids, they're like calling, the L's and the R's. And then of course we switch up to in, begin, breathe in, like a sudden shift in the rhyme as well as the rhythm of the rhyme scheme. It becomes like there's a couple of internal ones, begin, breathe in, and then bang, paper, skyscrapers. And then this part actually has a tighter and slightly more complicated rhyme scheme. We've got walls fall, wind swing, well that's more like assonance, paper, skyscraper, and a lot of alliteration going on. Wall, wind, swing, watching, and then radars, array, rain, vapor, like the R's come in, radar, array, and then we've also got that assonance as well. It's not rhymes, but there's a lot of alliteration and assonance in a way that makes it sound rhymey, and and then skyscraper, paper, sort of like that cracking sound, bang, like the booming and the cracking of like the actual storm hitting. So radars, arrays, rain. and then boom, a beach against that alliteration goes under thunder rhyme, and then shorelines shake. That's more alliteration there. Gales gather while we wait and wonder. All the trees are threshing, power lines are lashing. You'll see that pattern continue. So we go from paper again. It's like shifting from the plosives to the sibilants. Paper to thrashing, lashing, flashing. And then all alone together talking about the weather. All in talking, kind of, there's that internal rhyme there. Rainy Sunday that goes on forever. And that last line, the very last line, kind of loosens the rhyme scheme a little bit, kind of like slows down the pace. That is how I am using the rhyming, alliteration, and assonance to shape the structure of this song, with the gradual build from the verse through to the pre-chorus and then the climax here. I hope you enjoyed that. This song definitely took a journey. The final production sounds nothing like I thought it would, but I let the production process take me along like that. On the subject of the storm itself, things have eased up, and we've missed the worst of the flooding so far, so we're just hoping that everything settles down very soon for the rest of the state, and thank you very much for watching.